Super It's 93.5 RedFM पे मैं हूं तुहिन आपके साथ. Well, today I have with me the Indian yogi spiritual guides, a social reformer and an educationist. Welcome to RedFM, Shri M. How are you doing, sir? How's the morning treating you?
Morning is very good as usual. Every morning I wake up new. This is the Upanishad.
Okay.
Mhm.
how's the life being a social guide, a social guru,
Well,
a spiritual guru, a spiritual
ah,
guide?
right.
Yeah.
So, a spiritual teacher also has social commitments because
Right.
spirituality is not separate from your daily life. This is not the kind of spiritual life that I lead or I want to put forth. It's connected with your daily life. So, your social life, your social commitments, one of the most important being to relate with people and give
Right.
them this great message of harmony, peace, oneness, and and peace especially. That has come down to us for 2,000 years in our Indian tradition. So
Right.
that is my social commitment, but I'm also a married man, so I have social commitments to my family and my kids, which means that a yogi need not cut himself out from any of those things.
Right.
Yoga is not cutting yourself off. It is staying and doing. And this is where the Ishavasya Upanishad is also very important.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
It
I'll
was.
I'll I'll come to that Upanishad, but I
Mhm.
also wanted to ask. You said you're also married. You also have kids.
Yes,
So
yes.
did Sri M had those moments when he had fights at home with wife, or he has to surrender to the wife?
Good question. Good
Whatever
question.
wife is saying is right.
And when young people come to me like you and ask me that we are going to get married, do you have any suggestions? First, I tell them, thank God you have come to a married man because a mom couldn't know what to tell you. Okay?
Right.
Second, I always advise them when you start your married life, start with the understanding that you are not always right. You may be
Right.
wrong. If you start with the premise that you may be wrong, the other side may be also right, not always this way, that way,
Right.
then half the problems are sorted out. One should learn to listen. You know, the problem is we are right. Then the other side says I'm right. There is no meeting point. You see, you
Yeah.
are married, so they have equal rights. So have a discussion and a dialogue, not an argument. If you know, you know the difference between a dialogue and an argument.
Right. Right.
Argument is I think I'm right and the other party thinks they are right. This is the argument. What is
Discussion
a
is a
dialogue?
solution.
Exactly. What is a dialogue? Which is also so important in the Upanishad. Samvad. What is a dialogue? Where you sit together and try to solve the problem.
Right.
So, even though, like any other human being, I have had such problems in married life, also with the kids when they grow up from teenager on, there's a
Right.
generation gap. All this is there. But believe me, I can tell you that I've been able to steer through it without hurting anybody, including myself.
Okay. Which is a brilliant thing to do in life anyway.
This is what we should be doing. So
Yeah.
I attribute that to my background in the spiritual understanding.
We'll come to what is Ishavasya Upanishad.
So one of the things I'll explain to you about the Upanishad and then Ishavasya. But before that, let me tell you that this was one of the favorite Upanishads of Mahatma Gandhi. You know that Mahatma Gandhi was not a sannyasin. He worked
Yeah,
very
no
hard.
doubt.
He
Yeah.
worked very hard. If he didn't work that hard, we would still be sitting under the British, right? So he did work. So the Upanishad, it is one of the short Upanishads. It has very few verses. It doesn't have, I think, 20, 21 verses maximum. Exactly, I don't know the number. But one of the things the Upanishad says is that you can live in this world for 100 years and do your work without letting it hurt you or leave a mark on you.
Right.
This is why this Upanishad is relevant to the modern world. It is relevant to all people who live in this world. Not only hermits who are sitting in the caves. I mean, that's a different section altogether. Let's not go into that. So, having said this, this Upanishad, little Upanishad, is from the, I know your people may not be, but let me say it anyway, that it comes from the Atharvana Veda.
From Atharvana.
Yeah. First Upanishad. The word Upanishad means sitting together and going beyond. Upa means to go beyond. Shad means to sit. And Ni, the connecting link between sitting down and listening, so that you go to that which is beyond. This is the Upanishad in general. All Upanishads. And they form the end part of the Vedas, so they are called Vedanta. Anta is end. Veda Anta. Okay? Now, this Upanishad, Ishavasya. Isha, the word Isha means the supreme reality. Now this Isha, the supreme reality, says the Upanishad, Ishavasya idam sarvam, yatkincha jagatyam jagat, tena tyaktena bhunjita ma grita kasya. I think we will stick to just the first four because we have only 30 minutes. So, this is the first beginning of the Ishavasya Upanishad. What it means is, this supreme reality which we are talking about, say the rishis, is all pervading. There is no place where it is not there. Isha Vashyamidam Sarvam pervades everything here and now, not tomorrow after you die. Now, Yatkincha Jagatyam, now the world is called Jagat in Sanskrit because it is derived from the root Jagatyam, that which moves.
Right.
It's always moving. You see, the whole world is moving physically, geographically. Mind, of course, is always moving. We don't even have to ask. So, this whole movement is called the Jagat.
Right.
So, the Upanishad says this supreme spirit or this reality, Atman, Param, whatever you want to call it, Isha, Ishvara, pervades this whole world of movement. However, if you need to understand it, Tena tyaktena bhunjita, which means let go and rejoice. There are different ways of letting go and rejoicing. Evenings, if you go to Bangalore city, you will find different ways of letting go and rejoicing. There is with the other spirit which comes in bottles. I'm not talking about that. I mean, that's also one way of getting out from the shell. I understand why it happens. Here it says that if you learn how to let go, not give up, make a distinction between giving up and letting go. If you make a distinction between letting go and giving up, and learn how to let go of the mental impressions, especially the painful ones. It's nice to have good and happy impression, no harm. But if you can let go of the prejudices, the painful impressions that we have had in life in the past, and look at each day as a fresh new day, then you rejoice. Where do you rejoice? You rejoice in the all-pervading Brahman, the Supreme Being, the Isha. And the last sloka says, Ma grida kasya, whose world is this anyway? It doesn't really belong to you and me, it belongs to the whole world.
Right.
So this is the beginning of the Ishavasya Upanishad. You see how it is connected to many things, lofty as well as worldly. Why I teach the Upanishad? Many people think Upanishad is meant only for the intellectual or for hermits or for... My Guru Maheshwarnath Babaji told me, teach the Upanishad because it is the simplest and the most direct way to find the truth. This is what I'm doing.
Here I have two questions. One is, of course, about the Gen Z, the new generation. What is the relevance and importance of Upanishad in today's world? How would you explain it to Gen Z? Because a lot of people say, ये तो पुरानी बातें हो गई हैं.
Like Jesus said, it's all old wine in new bottles. People have now found out a way of life which on the outside is changed, but inside is the same. What are we seeking? Happiness in some way? So I think this is even though this dates 2000 years ago, roughly, it is a universal thing that applies to all times. It's you cannot really, and I'm happy to say that nowadays when we have gatherings where people have come to listen and have discussions, there are many young people. Because while the modern world has many advantages, I don't deny that. For instance, internet. Otherwise, how would we be talking to each other?
Right.
At the same time, there are also disadvantages. And I think if you look at the Upanishadic teaching as something which is universal, not belonging to this section or this cult or that, if you look at it as a universal teaching, meant for human beings, it is as relevant today as it was before, especially to the young. I'll tell you why. I find that when I interact with the young, they are less prejudiced than the old.
Right.
So, if that is the case, their minds are open. You need a open mind to understand this.
You start on a positive note, basically.
Always.
Not on a negative note.
No,
Yes.
certainly not. I have
That's what
interacted.
prejudice brings.
Exactly. So prejudice. So with young people, that prejudice is kind of 50-60% away. It's not there. They're starting new.
Huh.
This is the time when if you give them something, they look at it and say, doesn't matter who it comes from, let's take a look at it. I appreciate the young. I think the young are the future of the world.
Right.
What is the use of teaching people who all have grey hair like me? So I really lay great stress on this. And I know RedFM, like so many young people are listening to it.
Yes.
Right? So I'm hoping that it will make some dent and people will say, oh, this is not just some kind of old cobweb thing. Let's look into this new.
Look in the present world right now. There are two ways of looking at it. There is intolerance, there is frustration. Is it because of aimlessness? And also, we don't have heroes, we don't have leaders to follow.
You know, one of the things we need to learn is that all the people that you follow from the beginning of time, if you really follow, not people who come and go, 10 years, 5 years gone. See, I think this idea of aimlessness and so on comes because we depend too much on politicians and politics. We should look at humanitarian people. You look, great people from the beginning of time, cutting across religious barriers, have been selfless, and they have always tried to bring people together, not divide people. So these divisive tendencies, look, I know many people, including me, we together, took a walk from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, 2015-16. It was not for gathering votes or anything of that kind. It had no political implications. What we discovered was, if politics does not divide people, this country is heaven.
Right. We're culturally so strong.
It's culturally, it has roots. You just need to go to the root. But unfortunately, even the roots are utilized for politics. This is the whole problem.
Right. Okay.
So,
I am, you said आजकल internet वगैरह है, people are dependent on that. There are pros and cons. Your story is also like at the age of 19, your transformation started. So you didn't want to become a doctor, engineer, or a lawyer at the age of 19. You just went in search of something. Is it because of there was no backing, that nobody telling you that engineer ban jao, doctor ban jao?
it is precisely because of this pressure. Partly. Because in my generation, now things have improved, okay? Everybody doesn't want to become doctor or engineer.
Yeah.
In our generation, either you become a doctor or you become an engineer, or in my case, engineering, okay? Or you join the IAS.
Right.
Okay. Now, in my case, it was engineering because my dad was a big construction man
Right.
from where I come from. He thought if I did engineering, I would help him with his work. His greatest regret that I didn't take up the company and I went away somewhere. Now this pressure, and plus the fact that at a young age of 9, I came in contact with a great yogi, but
Right.
unknown yogi, unknown. Even
But
today,
you went, but you went in search of him at the age of
no,
19.
no. After I met him for 5 minutes in the backyard of my house, my mind began to change. He went off. My mind
Right.
began to change. And then, at the age of 19, when I left for the Himalayas, I somehow felt that I might find him there. And I found him. This was the search. And the pressures of making me into a professional engineer or a construction guy also acted. It kind of pushed me out. I didn't want to. I was thinking fresh. Believe me, in that
Moh maya hai.
at that
Huh?
age, I was thinking like the youngsters of today. I think I was before my time, and nobody could understand what was going on in my mind, unfortunately.
But your time, that was the time when India was going through transformation. India was going into technology and new
Yes.
things were introduced. Television
Yes.
aa rahe the, radio chal raha tha, cars aa rahi thi.
Just started.
Yes.
We didn't have television when we grew up. We had those valve sets. I'm 73 years old. We had valved radio sets, big things. And when we were small, we used to think somebody sitting inside and talking and singing. Yeah, yeah.
So,
It-
so वो जो time था, space exploration हमारा चल रहा था. So a lot of new things were coming. So
yeah.
there were a lot of avenues for you. Was that uh, like, did you think कि ये there's a lot of chaos right now, or what was going on that time?
Well, I don't think there was a lot of chaos. Chaos is there all the time in some form or the other, any period of history. It's not confined to one period of history, but I was looking for something much more permanent. Is there something other than just these gadgets and things? I said in my mind that I am not going to get into this technology, but our ancient Shastras say that you can physically leave the body and go in a subtle body wherever you want in the universe. I said, let me do that. I'm not saying I'm capable of that, but let me concentrate on that. Why go only to the moon? So
Okay.
it was not a narrowing down of the mind, it was actually an opening up, and I think that is very important.
And
Now also,
that's where meditation comes in place.
exactly.
So
Exactly.
so I wanted to talk about meditation now. That to what level one can achieve meditation, and what is your experience on that?
See, meditation basically is freeing the mind from all its conditioning. People have a wrong impression that meditation is imposing something and putting something in. No. Meditation basically, according to Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, Yoga's Chitta Vritti Nirodha, which means moving all the distractions of the mind away, wiping away the distractions. A mind which is free of distractions, free of tension, free of opposites, becomes a tarmac from which you take off to the unconditioned upper levels of the mind. So, meditation is not something you can do. You can sit down and try to clean the mind. That's all you can do. After that, meditation happens. It happened. And it can also happen sometimes spontaneously when you're sitting near the sea, looking at the waves.
And you're lost.
Now, what happens when you're lost? You think you're lost. Actually, you're lost from the conditioning. Your mind has become as wide as the ocean. It is that mind that get intuitive and creative thoughts that come to the surface. You know this fact that many people, writers, painters, they work very hard. When they come to a place where they can't move forward, they're stuck. What do? Take off. Go away somewhere. Well, some people even indulge in substances, whatever. I'm not interested in that. They go away somewhere. And then what happened? The mind is free of this obsession with what they were doing. When it is free, the next idea creatively pops up in the head. This is meditation, at least the beginning of meditation.
There is a joke on that. The joke is the man is sitting, he's just staring in the oblivion. He's just staring. There's nothing in his head. He's just staring. And the wife comes in. What are you thinking? And he's like, nothing. No. What are you thinking? Nothing. You must be thinking about a girl. No, I'm not. So there's a there's a discussion going on, but the man is not thinking anything. He is blank. I think he's meditating right now.
Right. Good thing. If you would only tell the wife, you also sit down. Let's soar away up somewhere. Huh?
But what is the level of meditation? What do you achieve?
That's what I'm saying. See, first, your mind is deconditioned. It frees itself from the limitations which it has been imagined and taught from childhood. When it frees itself from limitations, the scope is unlimited. This mind, but it will be a peaceful, quiet mind, but it will be an extremely creative mind. Now, it is this
Yes.
the rishis in the Upanishads. If you go back and read, you wonder, did anybody say this 2000 years ago? Impossible, because we can't even think that somebody can talk like this. What happened to them? They managed to be quiet. They managed to uncondition their mind.
Concentrate.
Yeah, it's not even concentrate means then you put effort.
Okay.
It's letting go, actually. Let go and rejoice. Yeah,
Okay.
it is letting go. But to begin with, you need to shift your attention because you can't keep your mind blank. It's very difficult. The mind abhors being quiet and without thought, just like nature abhors a vacuum. Yes. So you have to first shift it from the outside into something inside. For this, we have the technique of watching the breath. So now what happens? The mind is active, but it is also doing, but it is not an outside world. It goes inside. Then it watches the breath. As you watch the breath quietens down. And it is our experience that when the breath quietens down, the mind also quietens down. And that is what we want. Then that mind can concentrate on anything. One-pointedness comes easily to such a mind. Because it is not distracted. All the energy is there. I think you get what I'm trying to say.
I'm understanding because I've done breath works, and I didn't know when I spent 1.5 hours doing that, and
Right.
when I
Because
woke up, I was fresh.
see that
Everything was cold.
absolutely. So this is the thing, and then from there we can go further up, deeper and deeper into multi-dimensional levels.
Okay.
This is the future of the world. This is the future of the world. Now we tend to live in this frontal lobe civilization. There are many other unexplored parts of the brain we need to go into. And meditation is the tool that you can use.
तो मतलब दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा नशा है अपने दिमाग को एक्सप्लोर करना.
Absolutely.
Wow.
It's like better than a cruise. I like travel. But I found there is no travel better than traveling into the mind. It's fantastic.
Is it if you want to go to Europe or America, you just meditate or you go there?
No, I go there. I haven't escaped. I keep traveling. I wish I could. But then if I go there, others won't see me. So there's no point anyway.
Right.
So, yeah, but it's a fact which I've understood that the subtle mind can travel independent of the body. This is a fact. My understanding, okay, my experience. I can't show it to you, I can't prove it to you, I can't put it in a test tube, unfortunately.
Right. It's
You
your
need to-
experience you can share.
Yeah,
basically.
you need to do it yourself. There's no
Right.
other way.
Okay, so last two things. One is, of course, your encounter with a Yeti. And was it the meditation or it was an actual encounter with a Yeti?
That this Ranveer has done this mischief. Actually, It was not a trance or a meditation. I was fully there, and it was actually some being that came in. I only say that it could be an Yeti because it was not like any human being.
Okay.
And
What
not
was it
only
like?
that, it tried to help me out because
Okay.
I was in a high fever. It stuffed something into my mouth. I think it was trying to help me. But then the Gurkhas who were with me, the Sherpas, they started shouting, so it ran off. And it made a kind of a sharp voice like a whistle. I don't know, I cannot say more than that. I was not hallucinating. Believe
Okay.
me.
Yeah. Jim, there are so many questions I want to ask, but time is the limit, is the
We'll have
constraint.
another time then.
Yes. So
Huh?
I so wanted to ask about your spiritual and religious transformation, which in today day and age, people have made it very difficult.
I
So,
know. So
uh,
look.
a very simple example, a very simple example. Today morning, I opened Instagram. There was one post by Akshay Kumar. There are kids. There is Jacqueline Fernandez, and there is another actress. There were the kids celebrating Christmas. Now I started reading the comments. Why don't you do this in Ram Navami? Why don't you celebrate Krishna Janmashtami? Well, because
Oh
they are
no.
not coming and giving you gifts. It's the Santa Claus which is
It's
giving
nonsense.
the gift.
It's nonsense. This kind of thing is really utter nonsense. I, of course, I'm not. You should celebrate Ram Navami. You should
Of
celebrate.
course.
All right, but what is wrong with celebrating Christmas? I don't get it. Christmas is celebrated because of the coming into this world of a highly spiritually evolved person, who in India would have been called a great yogi, a
Correct.
wandering yogi, who had no home, who wore rags, who ate simple food, and who said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God." Is there anything wrong with I don't understand. I think if you want a united India, we need to stop these things. Definitely.
On that note, thank you so much, Priam, for talking to us.
Thank you very much. It was nice talking to you. Let's hope
Was
to meet again. Okay?
lovely talking to you.
Bye.
Let's meet soon.